Mic test.
Okay, guys. How are we? I think I might have an echo.
Yeah, just remove it. You don't need to see that, or do you?
I wanted to see everybody, so maybe I'll turn this way. Um, well, I don't know if it's good evening or good morning or good afternoon because I feel as if it's good afternoon. We're in PDT time. I'm Howard Taylor Kamara Diallo. I'm joined here by Unisa Kalon. It so happens both of us are from Sierra Leone, just by coincidence. And I do have to apologize because our session was to be earlier, and I have people connecting from across the globe. So I believe some of my speakers are now sleeping. So we were to be joined by Cristobal Opudo, who is in Nairobi, Kenya. Many of us just came from the Civil Society Conference, the UN Civil Society Conference in Nairobi, Kenya, but it's quite late there now. It's after 1 a.m. We were just joined by Suleiman Abubakar from Nigeria. It's quite late there also. So you're going to be stuck with me and Unisa, but we're fortunate enough to be joined by a good NGO colleague, Margot Lazaro from New York, which is not too far, right, in terms of a time difference. So welcome to this session. We're quite excited to be here. The session itself is focused, it's really a discussion on youth-led innovation. And it's focused on unleashing the power of youth-led projects, innovative projects, which I know are happening all around the world. As I mentioned, we just came from Kenya for the 2024 UN Civil Society Conference, and there was so much innovation in there. I didn't even know what to do with myself, with young people from all around the world. But what was really key about that is that it was intergenerational. So, I mean, we tried to make this panel the same way so that we can have both young people and seasoned people like myself to have a conversation. So, why don't we start with a few introductions? Maybe we'll start with Margot Lazaro, who is online, who's been waiting for us. Over to you, Margot, to introduce yourself, a bit about yourself, and a bit about the work that you do.
Well, good to see you again, Hawa. um, thank you all for this opportunity. And so I'm Marco Lazaro, President and Chair of the NGO Committee on Sustainable Development, New York, and I'm also a convener of the Urban Cluster with the NGO Major Group at the United Nations. We have affiliations both with Department of Economic and Council of Economic and Social Affairs, I should say, and also the Department of Global Communications to the UN. But with our organization, I've been with the UN a long time, but all of my time that I've been at the UN, it's always about making sure we were, as civil society, including everyone in what we did so that we could hear people's voices. And one of the things that I think is really important has been true for me throughout my time at the UN is to make sure that youth were included in everything that we did, not as an extra person in the conversation, but as a full participant partner in the dialogue, and to also highlight the initiatives that youth are taking on, and to work in an intergenerational way, because if you're around the UN long enough, you go from youth to, whatever, and you need to know that you're also can be included and be a part of what is that you're valued because of your work that you've done, because of what you care about, and that you want to make an impact and a difference, especially with the Sustainable Development Goals. I'll leave it there now. For now, however. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margot, for those really, I think, interesting but really practical words. It's always been a pleasure working with Margot in the work that she does in terms of sustainable development. And also, I've liked the way that she's brought in young voices into the work that she does. So watch out for the NGO Committee on Sustainable Development New York. Over to you, Unisa.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be here again in person for the IYC conference twice in a row. It's been quite a hectic journey. So we have the discuss around youth-led development with innovation. We see how currently our youthful population across the continent are very thrilled about bringing up innovation, science and technology to solve our common global challenges. For me, in simple put, it is what we do with the day-to-day activities of our lives in amplifying science and technology in itself is what I want to consider as innovation. We noticed over time that there's an increment with the drought, climatic impact, and then we see how people on member states are suffering from adverse effect of water in other land and other areas. The things we do in solving those common global challenges, that's the innovation we're here to discuss. That's what we want to look into. And that's what I believe we can delve into in discussion and in our presentation. Um, with us at the Youth Association in Sierra Leone, which is a non-profit with an ECOSOC status with the United Nations, our work is to see how we further amplify youthful participation at the United Nations and further enhance youthful representation right across the globe. By so doing, we want to see how science and technology become a major contributing factor to changing the narrative of the Sierra Leonean youth populace and that of the youth populace globally. We've seen with the current trend of science and technology and how we have improved over time with social apps such as TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Before we had these ones, we had MySpace. I don't know how many of us are in here that use MySpace. We had other applications like High Five. It was because certain individuals insisted on improving on these existing science and technologies that we are today enjoying the beauty of Facebook, YouTube, etc., etc. So without further ado, thank you very much for making time for this session. I look forward to what we discuss in these deliberations. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Unisa. I should have mentioned that, this session is actually put together with the support of the UN Department of Global Communications Youth Representative Steering Committee. That's a mouthful, but it's a mouthful because it's a powerhouse of young people ages 18 to 32 that work either in NGOs or they lead NGOs that have a status with the Department of Global Communications. So they are advising that department, hey, how do you get this right? It's not just enough to say that you're engaging with young people, but really, how do you do that? And what does that look like? So we have some of the members that are here also on screen. They've just joined us. We have Shirabe Mercado. Hey, Shirabe.
Hi everyone, hope you're good. Sorry, I'm literally just arriving to my home here in Mexico. But it's really nice to see everyone. I'm so excited about this panel. I wish that I can introduce myself properly for the people that are just like getting to know me. I was here, well, there in Los Angeles yesterday and on Friday as well. On Thursday, sorry, Thursday and Friday I was there in Los Angeles. Right now I'm joining online, but I'm really happy to be here. I'm really honored. As Hawa mentioned before, I'm part of the youth steering committee of the department, which I'm also really grateful. I mean, we have been doing many really interesting things. I'm just one of the new members for the committee, so I'm really happy, and I will be really excited to share everything that we do, that we're planning, and how we advocate within our own organizations. Thank you, Hawa.
Thanks, Shirabe. Anybody met Shirabe when she was here? I kind of just missed her. She is awesome. She's one of the dynamic young people on that steering committee that I mentioned that are really charting a lot of change and impact on issues that are on the UN agenda. And actually, it's just issues that you are working on yourself and issues that really affect you. We're also joined by another steering committee member. I'm so happy he's still awake because he's hailing all the way from Abuja. Anybody knows where Abuja is? Starts with the letter N. Come on, y'all. LA people. Nigeria. right next door to where I'm from in Sierra Leone. So we have Suleiman. Are you with us, Suleiman? Tell us a bit about
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me here. Good day to you, everyone. I'm Suleiman Abubakar Umar, and it is honor for me to be here with you all. I'm very sorry I can't on my camera. It is already late night here, and you know how our electricity here in the West Africa. So, a bit about me is growing up here in northeastern Nigeria. Our region faces a lot of challenges: climate crisis, conflict, and limited access to resources. But amidst all these struggles, I also witnessed the incredible resilience and a deep love for the community. That is what sparked my passion for change. So my journey began in a short with mobilizing fellow students around environmental issues. We quickly realized that collective action was key. So I co-founded the Concerned Youth Initiative for Climate Action, where we combine our scientific knowledge with a community organizing approach to tackle issues like water scarcities and drought and others. But Concerned Youth Initiative wasn't enough. I knew I needed to amplify youth voices on a broader scale. That is why I became a UN youth representative here, serving with the Shurabe and Hawa as our head and others. So, advocating for climate justice and social inclusion on a global platform. Today, my work is about empowering young people to become the change makers our communities need. Through workshops, conferences, and mentorship programs, I strive to bridge the gaps between policy and grassroots action. And then lastly, here at Civicus World Alliance for Citizen Participation, one of the largest civil society organization we have here in Africa and undoubtedly at the world, where I represent at the DGC. We believe that young people aren't just the future. We are the present. We have the ideas, the energy, and the passion to create a more just and sustainable world. And together, through collaboration and innovation, we can turn that potential into reality. So thank you so much. That is a little bit about me, and I am very sorry for not owning my opening my camera. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Suleiman, and thanks for staying up with us all the way from Nigeria. So, listen, you've heard about the passion about some of the people that are online, people who are here on the room, and I'm going to pose the question to people who are watching us online. What's your passion, and what's your story? Any takers in the room? Because it's not only about us; we're doing this together. Hot mic is here. So we have Steve Chu.
I was just going to offer to run the mic, not to take the mic. But no, I'm happy to say, hi, I'm Steve. Passion, I really like bringing people together. I think convening is so magical. And when people come together, like the creativity that flows from like the swapping of opportunities and interests, I think is always transformative, and being able to like see how people come to life. That's definitely a passion of mine. But happy to see who else in the room if there's any passions.
Yay, Steve!
Hi, my name is Luna Miller. I'm here with Team IYC. My academic passions have led me down a path of justice reform, especially transformative and restorative justice. Yeah, and so I get to be here with IYC and lead my secondary passion, which is youth empowerment and encouraging different groups of people to stand up and really seek out opportunities for what it is they're passionate about. So kind of feeding that down.
Any others? I mean, are people from LA? Are you from different parts in this room? San Diego. I'm gonna get up too. Where are we from? Come on, guys. Oops, look at me falling down. That's my passion, huh? So let's see. Where are you from?
I'm from LA.
From LA. So what's cooking in LA? Like, what's your passion? What do young people do? Because this is about unleashing your potential or the youth innovation, which I know you have already. Tell us a bit, and then I'll go back online. Like, what do you like?
I like music.
What do you love about music? I love music too. Are we gonna dance?
I like composing music or like playing for others since you can express how you want others to like. Okay, it's a form of expression for others to see how you would like.
Awesome. In one of my lives at the United Nations, by the way, I retired on Friday. After how many years? 38 years at the UN. And in one of my lives in UN Habitat, which is in Nairobi, Kenya, I had a program about urban expression. I mean, you're talking about composing, but for me, it's all the same. Where I had a program where we were looking at local celebrities in communities who were artists, who were using expression, music, art, theater, spoken word, to really get across the information about sustainable development, but about rapid urbanization. So the UN itself uses things like music, like you're saying, to connect with people, to hear what people have to say. So that's a good one. Shall I go back to the audience? Shirabe, did you have something to add?
I know, I'm really happy. I mean, I'm very excited. I'm not there in the room in person, but I'm here in spirit. I see you guys. I hear you. I think it's really important, and what you said about music, I think it's so powerful. I consider myself to be a musician. I play the piano, and I love sharing. I love artivism. I don't know if you know about the concept of artivism, but that's a really great way to how you use your passion towards art, no matter what expression, no matter if it's music, if it's painting, if it's poetry, if it's dancing, whatever it is, so that you can advocate and engage with the community, engage with others to let everyone know the problematics, the solutions, to let everybody know and raise awareness. I just wanted to add that to that in a specific that someone in the audience mentioned. So cool.
Thanks so much for that, Shirabe. I mean, that's really great. I mean, like I said, I expected you to say K-pop because I'm a K-pop person, but I'll take the composing. It's all the same to me. But I know that Margot was in the entertainment industry. Margot, what is the music and artistic vibe we're talking about here? How does that strike you in terms of your passion and in terms of getting the work done?
Well, so we want people to feel the message, not just talk at people with whatever we're putting across. And I've been doing this now for a long time at the UN. I'm involved with the UN almost as long as you are, Hawa. While I was also involved with film, theater, and TV and in the beginning. Now I'm totally focused on what we do at the UN, running our organization. But one of the things we want to do is have people feel connected to the topic, whatever people are putting across. And if people can make their story personal, people will identify with that and be drawn in to the message. So it's not just talking at people, but bringing them to you and what you want to share, and empowering them in a way to also find their potential. So I think that transcends whether it should all be intergenerational, because I've always been connected to the youth, and the youth have been connected to me in finding their way. But I think one of the things that happens there is that you listen and you also share your story in a personal way so people will be connected to the topics at hand, especially with the SDGs. And that's sort of what we do with theater, right? We're sharing. To be a good actor is to really feel it. There's actually a famous teacher who said, "Stop acting." The best way to be a good actor is to be in it. So if you're telling your story to connect people to a topic, especially your initiative, share it from your perspective personally. Thank you.
Thanks, Margot. Maybe if I bring it back to the panel, we've talked about music and what we can do with that, that genre in terms of getting the message across. But if we zoomed into the Sustainable Development Goals, have you guys heard about that before in the room? SDGs. I've got my SDG pin here. I even have the Hello Kitty one. How do you go about promoting and implementing sustainable development initiatives? And if you think about some of the things that are on the UN agenda in addition to the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, some of us call them global goals. How do you do that? And how do you connect it to some of the upcoming things like the Summit of the Future, which is coming up in September? I'll come back to that later on to ask you what you know about that. I'm going to pass the mic over to Unisa for this one.
The SDGs are basically telling us our common global challenges as member states, as communities, as a people. In simple layman term, these are common problems that are not going away anytime soon unless we have concerted effort as a people, one people, in redressing them. We are all faced and we are all affected by the recently concluded pandemic, COVID-19. We saw how this led to disruptiveness within our socioeconomic status as member states. And by so doing, we want to see how we can have solutions for future generations. Peradventure, we have something of similar nature or worse, properly addressed. We see the emergence of what was just concluded discussed here, the AI. We see how vital it is to our society and how dangerous it is equally so, because it's a new phenomenon, it's a new approach, it's a new tech, it's a new spec of something vital towards sustenance of society. But in the same vein, we have to look at the potential threat it's portrayed towards a society. So the SDG, the 17 goals, are looking at what are the major concerns that we have to look at as a global community in redressing with solution. The solution comes up with the innovative mechanisms that we put in place in our local actions that will result in global reaction. Instant. If I'm from Sierra Leone, my family members in the village are used to procuring fire or charcoal to the burning of wood. As far as they're concerned, they're not deforesting anything, they're not committing any climatic negative impact. But the continuous cutting down of trees and burning of trees into charcoal can adversely affect Sierra Leone's topography, the rainforest setup, which we are blessed with. And then when we have heavy rainfalls during the rainy seasons, we see immense flooding. So how do you get down to that village and educate that poor woman who believes that all she's doing is just to procure coal to get fire to live on a sustainable income? Now we say, let us rebrand the mechanism of procuring of energy at that level with sustainable energy, clean energy. We have the introduction of what we call AfriGas, which is the gas system. But again, to every positive, there's always a negative. So one of the major key tools we as a nonprofit, the Youth Association in Sierra Leone, embarks on is to see how we can further help in sensitizing the general populace, educate those who need the information. I usually tell people, yes, we are in these conference rooms, but the millions and millions of lives who cannot access some of these platforms are the ones we need to reach out to emphasize the importance of the SDGs in our lives. And how can we use technology, innovation in itself, to rebrand our common global challenges? We see our local herbs, traditional healers use local herbs, but technology has helped those local herbs to be established into big pharmaceutical industries, which are in billions. Some of these medications are available at little or no cost to them, but to the market and to those who are actually in need, it is skyrocketing in thousands and millions of dollars. So how can we break those chains, those inequalities, if I'm to put it that way, and redress it to supply the necessary demand needed in our society? We further look at how can we enhance, because for me, goal 17 is the most powerful one, collaboration. How can we enhance global collaboration? We see how everywhere is disruptive right now. Ukraine, Russia. We have what is ongoing in Israel with Palestine. We have Africa with the coup d'etats. We see there's a security breach in almost every major continent that we're sitting on. How can we consolidate our global community oneness to redress this as youth coming up? Because we are the ones they are living these troubles with. Most of these politicians, those of our leaders, next 10, 20 years, they will not be here. The onus lies on us, the young upcoming generation, who have the opportunity to be fortunate to be in these kinds of rooms to discuss policies, discuss pertinent matters such as climatic impact of our societies at local and global level and on various scales to redress our common global challenges through the SDGs. So to crown it up, Madam Hawa, our global challenges are all encompassed in 17 goals, and those 17 goals equally so provide amicable platform for solution through science and technology and innovation to redress these common challenges. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that, Unisa. You know, as you were talking, I'm thinking, then I'm asking myself, how do we connect some of these policy frameworks or the SDGs to grassroots-led initiatives? So not what's happening in the General Assembly, not what's happening in the Security Council or in Conference Room 4 at the UN. Very important. But how do we connect it to what's happening on the ground? I'm going to pass the mic over to Suleiman first, who's from Abuja, Nigeria. Then I'm going to walk over to the room and see if there are any suggestions in the room. Over to you, Suleiman. How do we connect to what, the SDGs, what we're talking about, to what people are doing on the ground, to what young people are doing? Because, like I said, I had the opportunity to work in Kenya, and I used to work in what they call slums. And I would go in as a UN staff member to do activities. I would see phenomenal projects and initiatives or everyday life of young people in a slum. And the only thing I would think about is the difference is they have the genius, ingenuity, the innovation, but they don't have the access, whether it's resources, whether it's quality education, or whether it's somebody to say, hey, bruh, that's good. I'm here to help you. So Suleiman, is there a way for us to connect to young people on the ground, grassroots? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. Yeah, from my experience, fostering dialogue across ethnic religious line is crucial first for ensuring that we connect grassroots with the international initiative. For example, encouraging grassroots student participation is key. We can achieve this by creating platforms like Youth Council and online platforms where young people can discuss local and global issues. Social media can be a powerful tool for raising awareness and mobilizing action, and then additionally integrating present issues like climate education into local schools curriculum can empower the local generations to become responsible stewards of their own generation. So thank you so much.
Who agrees with Suleiman? Any other suggestions? The mic is up here, or I can walk back over. How are we going to connect what's happening in Conference Room 4 in the UN Security Council to what's happening maybe in LA, maybe San Diego, maybe in Freetown, Sierra Leone, where I'm from, maybe in Seoul, South Korea?
How are we going to connect things?
Yeah, how are we going to connect it to youth-led innovation? I mean, you guys are pumping, you're doing it. But how do we know it's happening?
I think the more that young people connect with one another, and that is one of the ways that we actually make that happen. I know for me, in my space, I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, and it's me and just like some of these friends that I have, and we're all in this space. But when I connect with some of the individuals here, now I have friends that are from LA, I have friends that are in Boston, and we all have similar interests and goals. And by making those connections, I have new peers that I can collaborate on, like the initiatives or projects that I'm interested in. And that in itself gives me more confidence that the things that I do can matter. Because one, my peers understand me and they understand the change that I want to make, but they can also be by my side as I do that. So without good connections and relationships that we have and that we can build here in these spaces, the initiatives that we care about, the innovations that we want to create, the changes and policies we want to see changed won't happen. So connection.
Awesome. Let's hear it for Salt Lake City. Who knows that the 2019 UN Civil Society Conference was held in Salt Lake City, Utah? Who was there? And do you guys know that IYC was created as a result of that conference? So those are the connections there that you're talking about also, because IYC really is a platform to uplift the voices and demonstrate, underscore the voices of young people and what they're doing. I'm going to come over here to my brother from an intergenerational perspective, because you're as young as I am. What are you thinking?
It's not generally what I'm thinking, but it's what I'm feeling that goes together. And I'm learning that, and I've been learning that science and technology operate on a linear platform. My passion is introducing or helping others remember that there's science, technology, and spirituality that all work together. And a quick short story, in Florida in 2016, a friend of mine living there on the Cape actually had signs that because of a nuclear reactor that had released what they call flesh-eating bacteria. And so the whole pond was, of course, devastated, and there were dead animals on the site. So what she took upon herself as a Reiki master and part Ojibwe indigenous peoples is she went down there and brought community, children, mothers, and all, and they drummed. You talk about music, a vibration. They put a vibration and sang songs, and the children danced along the shore. 18 months later, that pond was so clear, there was a record number of manatee and sea turtles that had come. And so science or spirituality and technology need to work together. And we can collapse timetables on healing because it is about healing our world. And in order to heal our world, we must heal ourselves. So that's the passion.
Absolutely. Brother, I'm with you in this retirement. I'm going to have to talk to you afterwards. What about our audience, rather our panels? We're talking about, how do we connect youth-led initiatives, to policy frameworks? Any comments from you? And then I'm just thinking, what about peace? How do we connect young people or youth-led initiatives to peace and security discussions and platforms at a global level? Any takers online?
I think that youth need to be more engaged with learning how to interject into policy. How does that happen? It's a big step, but it's important because having the conversations among civil society, whether at the UN or online and all that, that's all well and good. But to actually impact policy change is not so easy. It's an interesting challenge, but it's a skill that some people need to learn how to be able to facilitate that. And it means really dealing with local government and showing what they have to offer in terms of innovation. And as far as art is concerned, art helps engage community. And to get local engagement, you need to have the community behind you. So art can help put a message across, whether it's through sound, music, art, drawings, paintings, whatever the case may be, murals maybe. But it's all important. But learning how to do the political part is not so easy.
Shirabe, you had a comment
Or
also?
necessary. Excuse me?
I'm so sorry, Margot. I thought you were finished. Apologies.
No, I know it's, okay. But I'm just saying that's not an easy thing to accomplish, an easy step, but a necessary one.
Yeah.
Shirabe, over to you.
Okay.
No. Solomon can talk. Go ahead. It's okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. So regarding international peace and security, for my view here, my take will be, for example, from my experience, fostering like another dialogue across different religious lines is crucial for peace building. For example, we have like through youth exchange programs and workshops on conflict resolution, we can break down stereotypes and build bridges between communities because youth-led innovation can also play a role in developing early warning system for potential conflict and promoting peace education in schools. So by integrating like this practice into global politics, we can ensure a more secure future for current and the upcoming generation. So thank you so much. Sharabi, you can go ahead.
And I don't know if I can take it from here. Perfect. Thank you, Hawa. So I wanted to go back a little bit for the question that was mentioned earlier about the Summit of the Future and the sustainability. Before I can go deeper into what the audience just mentioned, what Margot and Suleiman also discussed, I'm really excited, and I just came back from a meeting that we have with the team and the speakers for the Latin American region session that we're going to have next Saturday, the 8th on June. It's going to be live streamed. If anybody's interested, it's going to be all in Spanish. We're working and I'm talking and having different conversations for them to be also translated, as this live session is translated live right now, for it to be accessible as well. Anyways, my point here is that for that session in specific, we're going to have like it's going to be like a mini IYC type of thing. Where we're going to have 5 sessions. These 5 sessions, each one of it is going to be related to one of the chapters of future and youth in Latin America. So it's really connected, and it's literally we have put some topics regarding the most pressing issues that we have as youth and as a community, a Latino community, um, in the region. And I'm so excited about that. And to talk about these, and for the question in specific about sustainability, about how to promote the goals and the agenda, the 2030 agenda. We're so close to 2030. I'm so nervous. I'm so excited. I'm everything, with every emotion possible. But yeah, as sustainable, I really like the word sustainability, um, as for in my concept and in my perspective, just to know how we're going to promote sustainability and how we're going to promote these goals in a specific. Uh, I would like to think about it in a holistic concept that integrates everything, integrates the environmental, the economic, the social, every dimension possible, um, that ensures a livable world, a just world, a greener world for the current and the future generations to come. It's about community involvement, it's about youth engagement, it's about intergenerationality, as critical and so essential components of effective sustainable initiatives that we are trying to push forward and working together across different parts of the world, across different NGOs, groups, so that we can create a more equitable world, for everyone. And I just want to there are so many things that we can do to promote sustainability and to promote development initiatives, education, the engagement in the from the grassroots and the local level. um, the policy advocacy is so important too, leveraging in technology too. As I am a biotechnology engineering and specifically a STEM advocate and activist, I would really like to jump into a topic. I know there's a question coming up on that, so I'm gonna wait a little bit uh, later on, to spoil, not to spoil everyone, but yeah. And to specifically connect it with the Summit of the Future, I think this event is going to be key on uh, how we deliver a present, and as safeguard the future for the generations, um, that are literally living right now, for the generations that are coming. So it's going to contain everything that we can imagine, and it's not going to be only about the SDGs. It's going to be about everything, for the international community. So just in literally words from the Summit of the Future page, that it's accessible and it's free for everybody to look up for, look into. There's a link. We put it in the chat as well. Summit of the Future. Please be sure to check that out. It's the one in a generation opportunity as a moment to mend eroded trust and demonstrate that international cooperation can effectively tackle the current challenges as well as those that have emerged in recent years or may yet be over the horizon. So I think this is a great opportunity specifically for youth and for vulnerable communities and vulnerable populations for us to be heard in a way that has never been present before. I mean, this is the opportunity that we have as a community to stick together, to stay together, and to really demand to be heard. It's our opportunity, and it will be our space. We have demanded that so much in the past, and I think this is the response to it, and we have to take advantage. We are not in a position to stay quiet anymore or to agree to everything mentioned. It's about disagreeing, it's about having these sometimes uncomfortable conversations and to face the reality together and to, as always, stay as a community.
Thanks so much, Shirabe. I think that's really great and it's a good highlight. You know, tomorrow we'll have another session, Global Voices on the Summit of the Future, where we'll delve more into it. But really, thanks for that really frank and descriptive presentation about the summit. I was going to ask Steve to come in and just talk a bit about that in language that we can understand. But Steve, I loved what my brother was saying there about healing and spirituality. I think if you can throw anything in there on that, that would be really awesome. And then I think we might kind of go back to online and kind of have a word or two from everybody as we sign off. I'm West African, so you have to watch me. I'm not watching the clock. I'm just talking. So you guys have to keep me under control. But Steve, why don't I pass it on to you if you want to add anything to the wonderful stuff that Shirabe said and anything that you think might be of interest for us here.
Thanks, Hawa, and thanks everyone for such a lovely panel. I'm just gonna sit in my little chair because my feet are tired, but shout out to Hawa for bringing the mic. So I think two pieces, like I would completely agree that with Shirabe that like this is really a lovely moment as we reimagine the future of multilateralism. And one thing that came out of the UNDGC Civil Society Conference was the understanding and reflection that we can't just see the Summit of the Future as the moment to define the future of multilateralism alone, but that it's also a moment for us to reimagine how we collaborate together as a collective generation, right? Like the collective generations working together. I think there's been an erosion of trust in the post-pandemic era that needs to be restored. There's a lot of hurt and pain in our international communities, and there's a lot of suffering because of that. I know the past couple of days at IYC, we've really been talking about like what does it mean to be a youth activist, and then also how to be cared for as a youth activist, and like recognizing that like to heal the planet, we have to heal ourselves, like the chief spoke to earlier. I think it's really critical that we also, as an international community, think about like what it means to take time to stop, right, and to heal and truly recover before we move forward. Otherwise, we carry so much pain with us that we risk replicating that same pain onto others and onto the processes that we're trying to like move forward in the name of progress, right? The worst thing we could do is in the desire to create a better future that we replicate the problems that got us to this like problematic present, right? And so I think a little bit of time to like rest, recover, and heal is very much needed for this community as well, while also recognizing the world waits for no one and we're steamrolling forward, right? So how do you navigate those two dynamics? I think there's been some tremendous learning in the past couple of days, but I definitely say we move with intention, we move with love, and we move in community with each other. And that's kind of the vision of how we make it happen.
That was really deep. Thanks so much, Steve, for that. Now, I know that it's been a long day. We're coming towards the end, but it's really been a powerful discussion for me. You know, I'm wrapping up 38 years of the United Nations, and I'm just really so moved by the way I see the young people, young professionals, students around me the way they've been working, the way they're carrying that mantle. I mean, I know that I can retire and I buy that island. And I can sit back and then relax and just think, SDGs. Steve has that under control. Summer of the Future. I think Shirabe is handling that one. And she's got Suleiman also with her. So it's really a personal, I don't know what you say in English. It makes me feel good to know that today is in good hands as well as tomorrow is in good hands. So, I mean, I've mentored a lot of young people along the way, and in turn, I have been mentored also. And it's been a really great journey of growth, reflection, and improvement for me. So I want to end this session in an intergenerational way because mentoring goes both ways. If you can reflect on, yourself, the young people that you come across, or the seasoned people like me that you come across, who have been your mentors? And it's a two-way street. So what steps are you taking now to create platforms where you can mentor other young people or people across the generations? I'm going to start with the room and then take one or two people who haven't I gotten. You're like, ooh. And then I'm going to go to the audience. Who's your mentor? What have you been up to? Have you mentored anybody? Have people mentored you? What are you doing to give back?
Do you mean like in work or like in personal life?
It can be personal, it can be professional. It all comes down to the same thing.
Okay,
What do you
so
think?
yeah, true. For personal life, probably would be my father. Like a lot of time, like he encouraged me to chase my like passion. So I kind of involved more in the international like affairs or international policy area. I just come from the World Bank Youth Summit, like come to here. So like attend two conferences to know a lot of people. In terms of like mentor, like in the field, I would say probably my professor in my university that I learned a lot from.
Awesome. I always say that my mom is my mentor. And when they ask you, like, who do you look up to? I say my mom because I see myself in that woman. I come from a culture where I always say that as a woman, I was born already disadvantaged before I even came out. But I happen to be standing on the shoulders of very strong African women, women who have charted the way, who pushed on me that education was important and that leadership as a woman for me, as an African woman, was important. So I'm like you, I look to my parent, to my mom. So you guys have just come as we're ending on. Who's your mentor? Have you mentored anybody? Have you been mentored? Are you creating mentorship platforms?
I think professionally, I work with a lot of youth. So I work with, I provide youth leadership opportunities in the school setting. So maybe does that
That's
count?
a big maybe for sure.
Okay.
I would love to have a mentor. Unfortunately, I do not. My mentor is Google if I have any questions or concerns. And I have been a mentor for freshman college students, and I currently work with the homeless population. So I would say that I definitely do mentor some of them and, teach them life skills.
I think that's a good one. Let's connect because as I retire, mentorship is something that I want to continue. Why don't we throw it over to Unisa in the room?
That's a beautiful question. For me, life has been a journey, and going through the process of becoming who I am today, just like gold or any mineral, precious material, you have to go through processes for you to be properly refined. And one of the mechanisms or persons I was fortunate to go through, sitting right here with me. Fortunately, I'm sharing a global stage with her again after the United Nations in Kenya. And this has been a beacon of hope. So, as she rightfully said, it's a two-way street. Mentorship comes in, are you ready to be mentored? The question that so many people say, sir, I see you've been doing a lot of work. Young man, I'm proud of you. I like you to mentor me. The question is not, I want you to mentor me. Are you ready to be mentored? Because it's a process. It comes with the good, bad, and ugly. I can give you experiences wherein I've been very troublesome and she has to bail me out. So she did not give up because there's an end goal. Okay, he's going somewhere. There's a destination and there's a journey start. But what people get conflicted with is the journey. And that is what we upcoming generation need to embrace, the journey. There are no two ways about it. There is no shortcut to it. You have to go through the process, because without the process, you cannot be this refined human being everybody admires at a global stage, or in whatever community or sphere of excellence you find yourself in. Another mentor that has been major in my life has been my parents, my high school principal, Mr. Akiwande Lashite, Madam Zainab Hawa Bangura, who I recently met in Nairobi. I remember she was the first person to tell me about Model United Nations. She was on my, at the time, she was under Secretary General for sexual conflict, sexual assault and violence and conflicts of assault. So at that time, I was in high school. And you have to be bold enough to come out to be outstandingly different. In you going through mentorship, you have to understand you're not like the 99%. And if you really want to be the 99%, then I think mentorship should not be your calling. Because in you becoming the beacon of change in society, you need to understand it comes with restrictions, discipline, and certain realization about yourself and the input of values these other people and your community and circumstances are instilling in you, whether in a negative way or in a positive way. Sometimes we go through hurtful experiences, not because we are evil or karma is more or less activated in our way, but it's also in a way for you to appreciate karma in itself. Because if somebody does not put his hand in fire, you not appreciate the fact that when your hand is not overheat, it's precious. The reason why you have prison system is because for you to understand that your freedom is very vital to you and you must judiciously use it for prosperity and the safety of another man. And equally so, in the same vein, we have been given these opportunities to leverage at a global and local scale. It is incumbent on us, after going through the hands of Madam Hawa Diallo, the hands of Madam Zainab Bangura, our parents, our school, our teachers, our community, the barber around the shop, or somebody who you meet along the street who is just being a very intelligent and nice person to you with advice, words of encouragement, you need to ensure that is being reciprocated back into the universe. You don't need a crowd. Choose one person. You can just choose one person and ensure that person becomes extremely excellent in whatever he or she chooses to be. That is for the benefit for society, because there are certain things that are not of benefit towards society. So you have to ensure that whosoever you mentor has to be a productive asset to society. We see certain people like Mandela, their legacies outlive them. For somebody to choose to stay in one place for over 27 years, he could have said, I have a family to run. South Africa is not my concern, but every day today we celebrate the impact of Nelson Mandela. How can we be the next trailblazers in a very controversial world? I say it with all seriousness because I'm happy for the sincereness of our dear friend at the back who said social media and Google has been an instrument of a mentor. That has been a key tool to so many people who have realized back home the internet is their friend. We come to events, we hardly talk to people, we hardly talk to each other, but we talk to each other through machines, through a technological device. So we have to see how we navigate the narrative, change the approach mechanism, see how we can be more intimate with ourselves verbally in person than through devices and technologies. Now, if you sit on a train, 80 to 90% of everybody on that train is ear-plugged to something different. Before then, our parents back in the day, they had newspapers who they read along the way. They discuss before they go to the job, especially when you have the third industrialization, when we had technology and all that. So we have to see how we can circumnavigate the positiveness of these technological drives and input that we're bringing into our cultural traits that could help nurture us becoming a better human being in society. I hope that makes sense. Thank you very much.
Awesome, Unisa. Why don't I throw it over to the panel? Online, I see Shurabe. Over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Hawa. So for this, I think it's a really important thing. I think, well, I focus, one of my favorite SDGs is quality education. I have a project entrepreneurship about an initiative of digital educative um, power. Per se, it's called Saluz in Mexico, and I think it's really important for us to think about mentorship, like quality mentorship, quality guidance, and quality teaching and learnings. I think it's multilateral. It's not only you shut up, I teach you, you learn. It's about learning from every perspective possible and taking that into account. What I can share from me, of course, my parents have been a key instrument, but the people that have mentored me the most and that I have sticked the most with are from the people that have told me the uncomfortable truth. I think it's important, the recognition. It's important to provide like motivational words, inspiration, but I think true mentorship and true learning comes with the bad things as well, the areas of opportunity, the things that we as people may not be comfortable with, because those are like uh weak, not weaknesses, but yeah, areas of opportunity as people, um to be let know what we can do better, to be let know how we can manage our emotions, how we can manage ourselves in a really straightforward and direct way, in a way that it's not painted in pink. We have a saying in Spanish, que no está pintado de rosa, it's not painted in pink. um, so it's not easy to take. It will not be easy to take, but that's, I think, the most valuable and the most impactful thing that you can learn from one person. Whenever it hits you, and it will hit you hard, and you don't have to take it personal, but to learn from it and to continue to advance, because you learn better from the experience that's from those experiences that have been the hardest, because no one learns from every success. You learn from failure, you learn from being beaten down, you learn from awful things that will uh, that will make you grow as a person, but also that including how important is in these mentorship platforms and spaces for it to be a safe space for our mentors, and for us to make it sufficiently safe for us to be confident and empowered to be voiced, and for us to let know our thoughts, to have a conversation and to have a discussion where you tell me what you think, but I can also tell you what you think, and we can get together and have an open dialogue that's going to be respectful, um, that's going to be assertive in communication, and so that we can grow each other and learn from each other from all of these experiences. I think those are the main things to highlight.
Thanks so much, Rabe. So let's finish off with Suleiman and then Margot.
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. So for me, I can say mentor for leadership. So my greatest mentor has been my father, who has been a professor in the university, he is lecturing, and has been putting me through since when I was 10. So growing up, I can say my community elders were instrumental. Please, this is a very impactful point. So going through that, my community elders were instrumental mentors to me, teaching me the importance of social responsibility. Now, as a youth rep of the UNDDC, I also actively mentored young people through workshops and conferences within my organization, which is the Concerned Youth Initiative for Climate Action. We have established mentorship programs connecting experienced youth leaders with those starting their journeys. Like I have said earlier in our site event in Nairobi, Kenya. So the key to success lies in fostering a culture of shared learning and mutual support. Yeah. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is my community elders were instrumental mentors to me. So thank you very much.
And sorry, if I can really jump really fast, I just want to mention, and Suleiman just touched a really important thing about the DGC. I just want to highlight and mention like properly the names of the people that I consider have been there in a really important way, which is including you, Hawa. You have been instrumental. I'm 100% sure that not just me, but literally I think hundreds of other people, specifically in Africa, as we know. But you have been a really great mentor for me. Also, I want to mention Ali. Ali has been a really great mentor for the team of IYC. And I also want to mention specifically as well Joseph and Lisa. I don't know if they are there in the room, but I did wanted to mention them.
Thanks so much. Margot, over to you. Have you been mentored?
I've been friended. Yeah, sure. I've been mentored in some fashion all through my life for different aspects of what I've been involved with. But one thing I want to say for communication isn't just speaking, it's also listening and really being present when people are putting forth their concepts. So you really grasp it and hear it. So it's really about listening for me with communication. But for me, a couple of people have really been influential in touching me in terms of really, we have a saying with the NGO committee, turn your passions into actions for change. And there was a woman who inspired that, who helped stop fracking in New York State. She and her husband were lawyers, and they were going to move upstate New York. And there were towns that were actually worried about the fact that fracking was going to impact their communities. And she went to their bylaws, helped them, and they actually stopped fracking in New York State. And in 2014, she did win the Goldman Environmental Prize for North America. Oddly, that same prize, not for North America, but was won by Wangari Maathai some time back. And Wangari was a friend to me. I want to just quickly say that it was, the woman's name was, that won the Goldman Award in 2014 was Helen Schlotsky. And she was coming to our meeting. And that just came to me, the turn your passions into actions for change. And everybody across the board in our group said we should keep it. So we didn't see Helen again until 2 years ago. And now she's an honorary advisor for us. But she did come back to us. And one of the things that, because of what she did with her passion, so passion is key. Listening is key. But one of the things that happened for me was that I was fortunate enough to meet and engage in activities with Wangari Maathai from Kenya. And she started the Greenbelt movement, as some of you may or may not know. And in 2004, she won the Nobel Peace Prize, the first African woman, I believe, in that area to actually win the prize. But we were friends. We became friends. I created a Children of the World Peace celebration we wanted to do in Rio during the 92 Earth Summit. And I asked Wangari to lead that. And we had an intergenerational session. There was a girl from Rio who actually lit a candle from Wangari. It was a candlelight visual. So we stayed friends. She inspired me. But I must say, in my time at the UN, somebody who has actually really inspired me is my sister from another mother, and that is you, Hawa. You really, truly have been amazing as a support for so many people in civil society, for their voices to be heard, sometimes up against incredible odds. And nobody knows all of what you went through, but you've actually stood up for all of us. And it was in an intergenerational way. It's been a pleasure to know you. And I'm really glad that I'm with you doing this the day after you retired, because I know we continue on, because you are truly an inspiration. So I don't know if you mentioned me or how that happened, but the fact that we were friends, it's just, see who your friends are and keep them close, and just make sure that you listen and you're there for each other, because it's a challenge. It gets to be more and more of a challenge in this world, but we can all help not only ourselves but others if we are passionate and we listen and we value our friendships. So I value you as a friend, Hawa, and thank you so much for all that you've done to support so many of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margot, and thank you to all the wonderful speakers. Let's give them a hand. And thank you, audience, partners, for staying with us. I know it's late in the day, and for really being open and flexible and giving us your, your frank thoughts and participation. I'm really thankful for that. So, as we conclude, let's all remember the power of youth-led innovation and also the importance of intergenerational collaboration in really driving positive change. I hope that you believe that together we can achieve the goals that are outlined in our communities, our local and international agendas. Thank you for being part of this really great discussion. La luta continua. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, panel members.
Thank you. Gracias.
Gracias, muchísimas gracias, and good luck on the IYC Latin America expansion. So please tune into that. Shirabe will be championing that next weekend. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Margot,
Bye.
Suleiman.
Thank you so much, Miss Hawa, for having us here. We are really grateful for this impactful